Your deepest choices were never truly yours to make. The decision you believe is uniquely yours. That job offer, the city you chose to live in, even the person you fell in love with, might be an illusion. It's a chilling thought, one that challenges the very foundation of personal responsibility and individual agency. But what if our subjective feeling of free will is merely a narrative woven by our brains to make sense of decisions already made? In the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted an experiment that continues to haunt the scientific community. Participants were asked to spontaneously flex their wrist whenever they felt the urge, while watching a clock hand. They reported the exact moment they consciously decided to move. Simultaneously, their brain activity was monitored using electroencephalography, or EEG. Libet experiment. Brain activity precedes conscious decision. What Libet found was profoundly unsettling. A surge in brain activity, known as the readiness potential, appeared a full half-second before the participants reported their conscious decision. Their brain had already initiated the action before they even knew they were going to make it. This wasn't a fluke. Subsequent studies, using fMRI and single neuron recordings, have pushed this window even further. In 2008, a study in Nature Neuroscience showed that decisions about pressing a button could be predicted up to 10 seconds before conscious awareness. 10 seconds. That's enough time to tie your shoelaces, send a short text, or realize you've already decided to grab that second donut. Our conscious mind, it seems, is merely catching up, rationalizing a choice that has already been set in motion by deeper, unseen neural mechanisms. The feeling of "I decided" is an after-the-fact narrative, a comforting story our brain tells itself to maintain a sense of control. This implies that the very thought, "I choose X over Y," is not the origin of the action, but rather its echo. But if our conscious mind isn't the true decision-maker, what is? The answer lies in the complex interplay of biological predispositions, environmental conditioning, and a vast ocean of unconscious influences. Consider the subtle power of priming. Studies show that exposing people to certain words or images can dramatically alter their subsequent behavior and choices, without them ever being aware of the influence. Priming. Subconscious cues influence decisions. For instance, people exposed to words related to old age, like Florida or wrinkle, later walk slower than those exposed to neutral words. They don't consciously decide to walk slower. Their bodies simply respond to the unconscious suggestion. Marketing departments have leveraged this for decades, subtly guiding consumer choices through strategic placement, color schemes, and subliminal messaging. The music played in a store, the scent in the air, the facial expression of a salesperson. All these can nudge you towards a purchase you believe you freely chose. Or think about social contagion. Our decisions are rarely made in a vacuum. They are constantly shaped by the actions, beliefs, and expectations of those around us. From fashion trends to political opinions, we are profoundly influenced by our social circles, often without conscious deliberation. The desire to conform, to belong, to avoid ostracism can overpower any perceived individual preference. This isn't weakness, it's a deeply wired survival mechanism, a legacy of our tribal past. Even our moral judgments, which we believe to be based on reasoned principles, are often driven by immediate emotional reactions. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio showed that people with damage to the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, which processes emotions, struggle with moral dilemmas. They can logically articulate right and wrong, but lack the emotional gut feeling necessary to make a decision, highlighting emotion's role as a silent dictator. Beyond subtle environmental cues, our choices are deeply etched into our very biology. Our genes, inherited from millions of years of evolution and our immediate ancestors, play an undeniable role. Genes influence temperament, predispositions, and personality traits. Studies on identical twins raised apart consistently demonstrate striking similarities in personality traits, preferences, and even life choices. They might choose similar careers, have similar hobbies, or even suffer from similar phobias, despite never meeting. This isn't just about physical appearance. It's about the deep-seated architecture of their minds. From our propensity for addiction to our general temperament, our capacity for empathy, or even our political leanings, genetics lay a foundational groundwork. For example, research suggests that a significant portion of political ideology, such as openness to experience or conscientiousness, has a heritable component. We don't consciously choose to be introverted or extroverted, risk-averse or thrill-seeking. These are tendencies woven into our neural fabric. Our brain chemistry also exerts a profound influence. Neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin don't just regulate mood. They shape our desires, our motivations, and our perception of reward. A momentary fluctuation in these chemicals can shift your entire outlook, your willingness to take a risk, or your attraction to another person. Brain chemistry. Neurotransmitters influence desire, motivation, and reward. Consider the immense implications for mental health. Conditions like depression, anxiety, or schizophrenia are not choices. They are often rooted in neurobiological imbalances or genetic predispositions. Yet we sometimes attribute blame to individuals for behaviors that are, in part, an unavoidable consequence of their biological makeup. Our biology provides the fundamental architecture, preloading certain programs and biases long before we utter our first conscious thought. But biology is not destiny in isolation. The environment acts as a sculptor, continuously refining and reshaping this inherited blueprint. From the moment of conception, every experience, every interaction, every cultural nuance contributes to the person you become. Your upbringing, socioeconomic status, education, and the values instilled in you by family and society all carve grooves in your neural pathways. Environment. Upbringing, culture, and socioeconomic status shape neural pathways. A child raised in poverty, facing constant stress and limited resources, develops a different brain structure and a different decision-making calculus than one from affluence. Their choices, though seemingly personal, are often adaptive responses to vastly different realities. The cultural narratives we absorb, the historical events that shape our collective consciousness, and the prevailing ideologies of our time all dictate our worldview. We are products of our time and place, often echoing the beliefs and biases of our ancestors without even realizing it. The concept of individualism, so cherished in Western societies, is itself a cultural construct, not a universal truth. In collectivist cultures, decisions are often made with the group's well-being in mind, blurring the lines of individual autonomy even further. Even seemingly trivial choices, like what food we prefer or what clothes we wear, are deeply rooted in cultural norms and early exposure. If you grew up in a desert, you likely prefer water over ice cream on a hot day, not because of a conscious philosophical choice, but due to primal necessity. Our experiences literally sculpt our brains, strengthening certain neural connections and pruning others. Each memory, each lesson, each trauma leaves an indelible mark that predisposes us to react in specific ways. This constant feedback loop between our internal biology and external environment creates a unique yet entirely determined individual. So, where does this leave you? The you that feels like a unified, autonomous agent making free choices might be an emergent property,